Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our subject, Readings in Philippine History. We're still in our chapter 4, which is all about the social, political, economic, and cultural issues in Philippine history. So we still have the same learning objectives, no? And what we are going to discuss for this video presentation is all about the taxation under Americans and during the Commonwealth period. So let's start with the taxation under the Americans. So the Americans who acquired the Philippines aimed to make the economy self-sufficient by running the government with the smallest possible sum of revenue and create surplus in the budget. So after acquiring the Philippines from Spain in year 1898 following the Spanish-American War, ang United States aimed to establish economic policies that would lead to the self-sufficiency of the islands while also ensuring efficient governance. One of the primary goals was to operate the government with a minimal expenses and para ma-generate ang surplus in the budget. And however, they made some modification to the system, no? From 1898 to 1903, ang Americans, gifollowed lang nila ang Spanish system of taxation with some modification, noting that the system introduced by the Spaniards were outdated and regressive. So the Americans authorities recognized that the Spanish tax system was outdated and regressive. So meaning it replaced a heavier burden on sa mga lower income segment sa population sa Philippines. And to address sa kaning mga issues, no, the American administrators likely naghimo sila og mga adjustment sa tax policies para mahimo nilang more equitable and conducive sa economic growth. And this could involve sa reforms such as introduction or introducing new taxes, i-modify ang katong existing one, or it change the way taxes were collected and administered. So overall, ang aim ani is para ma-modernize ma-modernize ang tax system and to make it fairer and more efficient and ultimately mag-contribute to the economic development and self-sufficiency sa Pilipinas under sa American rule. So, the military government suspended the contracts of the sale of the opium. Again, suspended the sale of opium, lottery, and meant charges for coinage of money. Later on, the Urbana would be replaced by tax on real estate, which became known as the land tax. And the land tax was levied on both urban and rural real estate. So during the period of military government sa Pilipinas, na ay mga several nga mga changes nga gihimo para sa economic policies, particularly in the areas revenue generation and taxation. Firstly, mo to ang military government suspended contracts related to the sale of opium, lottery, and meant charges for coinage of money. So these actions, ang kaning suspension, these actions likely aimed para ma-reevaluate and potentially reform industries that were seen as detrimental sa society or inefficient ni siya. So, natay ginatawag nga urban tax. So, what is this urban tax, no? So, urban tax was a tax mo na siyang levied on urban properties. So, was gi-replace ni siya sa tax on real estate or gitawag nga land tax. Okay? So, ang kani nga new nga tax no was not only applicable sa mga urban properties but also extended na ni siya sa mga rural real estate para mag-create sila og more equitable tax system by broadening the tax base to include rural areas and para na transition sa taxes that were uh, perceived as outdated or katong unfair. So the implementation of this land tax represented siya o significant change in the Philippine tax structure. Dako jud no, and it was a step toward modernizing the economy under sa American administration. So the government could generate of income or revenue more fairly and efficiently while also potentially encouraging economic development in both urban and rural areas. So the introduction of the land tax in the Philippines no face daghang mga challenges particularly sa rural areas where ang land title no, ang land tilting was disorderly and influenced by political and familial factors. Isa yun na siya sa mga hindering factors in terms of land tax in the Philippines. So, the sa to? Disorderly, no? Grabe, ang disorderly sa land title in the rural area, no? Made it difficult to accurately appraise the value of land, leading to potential disparities and injustices sa taxation. And additionally, the introduction of taxation system on agricultural land, nag-face po ni siya og mga strong objection from the landed elite, no, who often held significant political and economic power. And tax evasion was prevalent, especially among those elites. So, moreover, no, tax evasion was very rampant on this time sa kaning Americans, especially katong mga elites who had the means i-manipulate or i-avoid ang taxation. So this further undermined the effectiveness of the land tax as a revenue generating measures and contributed to the challenges faced government in collecting taxes. And then the Internal Revenue Law of 1904 na-pass ni siya as a reaction to the problems of collecting land tax. So in response to this issue, no, ang kaning Internal Revenue Law of 1904 was passed. So this law, ang kaning Internal Revenue Law, nag-aim ni siya nga para ma-address ang mga problems associated with collecting the land tax and para ma-improve ang overall revenue collection. So it likely introduced measures to kanang i-streamline ang tax collection process para i-improve ang enforcement sa mga mechanisms and to combat the tax evasions. Diba? And ang kanipod nga law may have included provisions for modernizing the land title sa kanang pag-title sa mga land procedures and para ma-address ang mga disorderly nga mga pag-process sa land title. Next is, so the internal revenue, no, part gihapon ni siya sa Internal Revenue Law of 1904, no, introduced 10 major sources of revenue for the Philippines nga nag-aim para diversify and para ma-strengthen ang government's revenue. First, natay gitawag nga license tax on firms dealing in alcoholic beverages and tobacco. So kani this involved imposing taxes on businesses nga nagbaligya og mga alcoholic beverages and mga tobacco products. Next is the excise taxes on alcoholic beverages and tobacco products. So excise taxes now are levied on the sana siya, production or sale sa mga specific goods, alcoholic beverages, and tobacco products. Next is taxes on banks and bankers. This likely involved ni siya og taxing the profits or activities sa mga banks and individuals engaged in banking activities. Document stamp taxes, these taxes no are gi-impose ni siya on kanang mga legal nga mga documents, mga contract, mga memorandum of agreement, or kanang mga other official papers nga based on the value or nature of the transaction. The cedula na agyapon ni siya karon. The cedula refers to mo na siya ang mga personal identifications nato no or personal identification document or tax certificate. So taxes, ang kaning taxes ani were likely levied on the individuals for the issuance of renewal of sa ilahang mga documents. Six is the taxes on insurance and insurance mga companies. So taxes here were imposed on the insurance premiums and sa mga activities of insurance nga mga companies nga nag-operate in the Philippines. Taxes on forest products. So this likely involved taxing the extraction or kanang sale of timber, lumber, and other forest nga mga products. Mining concessions. So ang taxes here imposed on the extraction and sale of mga minerals nga obtained through mining concessions. Ninth is taxes on business and manufacturing. This involved taxing the profit activities or products of businesses and manufacturing operations sa Pilipinas. And lastly is the occupational license. Taxes here were likely levied on individuals or kanang mga businesses nga nag-engage in a specific occupation or kanang mga professions. So therefore, these revenue sources no kaning 10 kabuok nag-aim ni sila para broaden ang tax base and para ma-reduce ang reliance on the tax land sana siya and para ma-ensure po nga na ay equitable distribution of tax burden across various sectors of the economy. Next is the sidula no nanata sa sidula atong atagan og kuan attention ang sidula. So sidula underwent og mga changes no with the implementation of the Internal Revenue Law of 1904 instead of being based on a personal income or property as it may have been previously. The sidula was now a fixed rate per adult male. Diba? Again, sidula tax daw, ang sidula tax was now fixed rate per adult male. So this change likely resulted in a considerable decline sa revenues from the sidula tax as it no longer took into account individual wealth or kanang iyahang status. However, in 1907, no, recognizing the need of additional revenue to support sa mga infrastructure development, particularly sa road, no, road construction or maintenance. Some provinces were authorized nga i-double ang fee for the cedula. So what's the purpose kanong say pag nganong i-double man? Because doubling the fee, that means that individual had to pay twice the amount they had been paying previously for the cedula certificate. So ang pag-increase aning pag-double or pag-increase sa cedula fee reflects nga ang government's effort, no? Nangita sila og way or alternative sources of revenue and para ma-allocate ang resources to a critical infrastructure project and para ma-support ang economic development and ang public welfare. Next is the industrial tax was levied on the business community and became a highly complex system that assigned a certain tax on an industrial commercial activity according to their profitability. So, ang industrial tax, no, as implemented under the new Internal Revenue Law of 1904 was levied, no, imposed on the business community, no, business community. Kay nag-aim ni siya nga nag-aim ni siya to generate income or revenue by taxing industrial and commercial activities based on ilahang profit nga nakuha. So the taxation system likely involved assessing a certain tax rate to each industrial or commercial activity. So taking into action factors such as the type of industry, sa iyahang size, and sa iyahang kita. And additionally, the Act also imposed a percentage tax on sales payable quarterly. So the new Act introduced percentage on sales, no, which business were required to pay quarterly. So this tax was likely mag-impose as a way to further diversify ang revenue sources and para ma-capture po ang portion of business transaction directly based on sales volume. In 1913, naanid si Underwood Simmons Tariff Act, no, in 1913 had a significant nga implication sa Pilipinas, particularly in terms of government revenue. So ang kaninga act, no, implemented by the United States Congress nga nag-aim nga para reduce ang mga tariff on mga imported nga mga goods including nga mga goods gikan sa Pilipinas. So as part of a broader effort para ma-promote ang free trade, one major consequence ani no sa kaninga act was lifting the export taxes on kay Philippine commodities such as katong mga sugar, tobacco, hemp, and kaning copra. And to make up for the loss or to address these challenges, no? Then si Governor General Francis Borton Harrison urged the need to increase ang tax receipt to para ma-compensate ang katong loss of revenue from the lifted nga mga export taxes. So this call for i-increase no ang tax receipt base no or likely lead to efforts nga para ma-explore ang alternative revenue resources or para ma-strengthen ang existing tax collection nga mga mechanism. So under this act no kaning Underwood Simmons Tariff Act nag-highlight ni siya o need for kanang proactive nga measures to ensure nga ang financial stability and support sa government operation and public services. So the minor changes made to the 1904 Internal Revenue Act, no, such as the imposition of taxes on mines, mga petroleum products, and dealers of petroleum products and tobacco. So it reflected the evolving economic landscape and the need nga para i-diversify ang mga revenue nga mga sources. So ang kani nga mga minor changes no or kani nga mga changes nag-aim ni siya para ma-capture ang revenue from emerging industries and sectors that were becoming increasingly important sa Philippine economy. And new sources of taxes were introduced later. And in 1914, an income tax was introduced. So it was during year 1914 na na-introduce ang income tax. No, na nag-reach siya with the introduction of income tax nga na kanang year 1914. So this marked a departure no from sa unang tax system which primarily relied on sa mga direct taxes lang such as katong excise taxes and katong mga sales taxes. So the introduction of income tax no, again the introduction of income tax nag-represent ni siya towards a more progressive and kanang equitable nga taxation system where ang individuals or isa ka tao were taxed based sa ilahang income level. And in 1990, no, an inheritance tax was created. So represented another effort ni siya by the Philippine government para ma-diversify ang revenue sources. So, ang kaning inheritance tax no, are typically levied on transfer of wealth from anang deceased person or individual kanang napatay bitaw to their mga anak. Ano siya. By implementing this tax, ang government aim to generate revenue from intergenerational wealth transfer. And similarly, the establishment of national lottery no, in 1935 was intended para mag-provide additional source of revenue sa government. So lotteries during this time are a form of gambling no? Where ang mga tao or participants mo purchase of tickets for a chance to win prizes with a proportion of the proceeds going to the government as their revenue. But however, despite these new revenue streams, no, it appears that they were not sufficient. No? They were not sufficient or increase government revenues to significantly increase government revenues because this could have due to nailahi nga mga factors including limited participation in the lottery kay isa naman po maka-afford mahal man pod challenges in enforcing tax compliance for the inheritance tax or other economic and social factors affecting sa revenue generation. So overall, ang introduction sa itong inheritance tax, no, taxes and the establishment of kaning national lottery represented ni siya attempts to address ang mga revenue challenges but their impact may have been limited in practice. So, mo to siya ang taxation during the Americans. Now, taxation during the Commonwealth period at ang tan-awan din hiya kung unsay nahitabo. So, during the Commonwealth period, efforts were made to reform the taxation system in the Philippines to promote fairness and equity. So, one significant reform occurred in 1936 when income tax rate were increased, no? Nag-increase dyan siya, income tax, nag-increase in 1936 by the introduction of a surtax of an individual net incomes and exceed a certain threshold, specifically sa 10,000 pesos. So by imposing higher taxes on those with greater financial means nga ang government nakita ni siya to generate additional revenue while also promoting social equity. So ang kaninga mga measures no, kaninga mga measures and legislation nga gi-introduce mo ni siya ang step towards ma-achieve nato ang equitable nga taxation system in the Philippines during the Commonwealth period. And mo pa ni nag-aim po ni siya nga mabalance ang need sa government revenue with the consideration of fairness and of course social welfare sa mga tao, reflecting broader efforts nga para ma-promote ang economic development and social progress sa country. So income tax rates of corporation will also increase, no? Mas ang income tax sa mga corporation were raised during sa kaninga period. So this increases, no, nag-aim ni siya nga para ma-ensure pod nga ang kaning mga corporation contributed their fair share sa gobyerno, nga nag-reflect siya og goal in creating a more equitable nga tax system. And the uh, abolition of Sidula tax in 1937, no? Mopini siya ang progressive move para ma-simplify ang tax system and para ma-remove ang mga regressive tax that disproportionally or disproportionately nga nakaburden sa mga individual nga low income, nga naslay low income. So, ang Sidula tax which have been levied on adult males, no? Adult males. And it was seen as very outdated and very unfair. And its removal was kanang likely welcome as a step toward reform and katong social equity. So, however, the introduction of kaning resident tax, no, in 1940, nag-represent siya og shift in taxation policies and kaning tax nag-impose levy on every citizen aged 18 years old and on every corporation. So its implementation likely raised concern about its impact on lower income individuals and the overall fairness of the tax system. Next is that, so in 1939, the Commonwealth government, no, drafting again the wait lang. So the drafting of the National Internal Revenue Code in 1939, mo ni siya ang evolution of tax system in sa Pilipinas during sa Commonwealth period. So, ang kaninga new tax code, gi-introduce ni siya with a major changes nga nag-aim para ma-simplify ang tax system, para mag-promote og fairness, and para ma-increase ang government revenue. So, here are the key changes implemented, no? So, pinakauna mo ni siya. So, ang kani dinhi this change, no, nag-aim ni siya para streamline ang tax structure and make it more progressive. So, meaning, nga ang kanang individuals with higher incomes would pay a higher proportion sa ilahang nakita. Mo na siya, changes. Next changes is the reduction of personal exemptions. So, kaninga reduction may have been part sa broader efforts nga ma-increase ang government revenue by kanang limiting deductions and mga exemptions. Third is the introduction of taxes sa inherited estates or kanang gifts bitaw donated in the name of the dead person. So this likely nag-aim po ni siya para ma-generate ang revenue from wealth transfers and inheritance. So nag-reflect ni siya efforts para ma-broaden ang tax base and address ang mga income nga inequality. Fourth is replacement of cumulative sales tax with a single turnover tax. Mana siya. So this shift, no, likely nga nag-aim po ni siya para ma-simplify ang tax system nga i-replace, wait lang, para ma-replace, ma-replace ang complex cumulative tax with a more straightforward turnover tax while also nag-target ni siya consumption sa mga luxury items. Fifth is pag-increase in taxes sa mga specific goods. So taxes on mga aluminum, mga cigarettes, forestry products, and mining were increased under the new tax code. So these increases likely nag-aim po ni siya para ma-generate og additional revenue sa government. Next is taxation of dividends. So taxing mga dividends, no? Kuan po ni siya para ma-ensure nga ang income earned through nga mga investments or sa nga investment in corporations was subject for taxation. And this is to enhance the fairness, no, and comprehensive of tax system. So the National Revenue Code of sa ito nga year 1939, no, nagrepresent ni siya og a very comprehensive tax system sa Pilipinas nga nag-introduce ani nga mga changes to taxation rates, no, mga exemption, ang mga provisions of taxing wealth transfer. And kani nga mga changes were intended to modernize ang tax system and para ma-promote ang economic development and para ma-ensure po ang mga tax burden was distributed fairly across sa different segments sa society. And one key issue was perceived inequality in the distribution of um, tax burden. So this imbalance, no, may have been due to mga lahi-lahing mga factors. Like for example, regressive nature of certain taxes nga nag-place og heavier burden on lower income individuals as well as katong mga challenges with tax enforcement and compliance. And moreover, the ability of the upper class, no, landed elite and those people in political positions to maneuver the tax system in their favor exacerbated feelings of inequality or inequity because these individuals often had a greater access to resources, had greater access to knowledge, and of course, influence. So efforts were made to improve the tax structure during the Commonwealth period. Persistent nga mga challenges with equity and fairness underscored the need para i-continue ang reforms of vigilance in addressing issues of tax divisions, corruptions, and inequality. And achieving a truly equitable tax system requires not only sound policies, but also effective enforcement mechanism and commitment sa pag-combat sa mga abuses of power and mga privileges. And low taxation sa kanino, the agricultural sectors was still taxed low to promote growth, but there was no incentive for industrial investment to take root and develop. So, grabe ang low taxation of agricultural sectors was likely nga mag-aim para ma-promote or promoting growth and supporting the predominantly agrarian economy sa Pilipinas sa kaninga time. And finally, a common character of taxation during American occupation in the Philippines was not used to diversify the economy or direct economic development as urban sectors still carry the disproportionate share of the tax burden. So the lack of direction, no, in tax policies to foster economic development across various nga mga sectors contributed to the disproportionate tax burden carried by sa mga lalahing segment sa society. So kaning imbalance nga nakahinder ni siya sa overall economic progress and disparities in wealth and opportunities. So during the World War II, as the Philippines came under sa mga Japanese occupation, no, the Japanese military administration maintained the system of tax collection that had been established during sa Commonwealth period. So the Japanese military administration likely continued to collect mga taxes sa Philippine population as means of generating revenue, no, para ma-support sa military operations and governance of the occupied territory. And this would have included taxes on income, property, goods, and other sources of revenue similar to those collected during sa Commonwealth period. So foreign trade fell, and the main sources of taxation came from amusement, manufacturers, professions, and business licenses. As the war raged, ang tax collection daw was a difficult task, and additional incomes of the government were gikan sa mga sales of national sweepstakes and sales sa government bonds. And the expenditure of the Japanese military government grew greatly. Grabe, no? And they issued military notes in order to cover the cost sa katong war. So overall, ang taxation during the Commonwealth period no was characterized by daghan kay nga mga changes, mga controversies, and mga political struggles as well. So the imposition of the new taxes and the resistance they provoke na na siya ko ano role in shaping the political and financial landscape of the time and left a lasting legacy on the development of taxation system during sa Commonwealth period. And that's the end of our discussion. Thank you so much, everybody, and I hope that you learned something new. Thank you.